Okay, welcome to the presentation. Today we're going to be covering NinjaTrader 8. I'm from DayTradeToWin, and this is a presentation that will show you how to download NinjaTrader, how to install it, how to use the charts, how to use the DOM, all the important features you'd want to know, whether you're coming from NinjaTrader 7 or if you're brand new to NinjaTrader. Okay, so we're connected to the market. What's next? We need to actually open up a chart. So we're going to go do that by File, New Chart, or New Chart in NinjaTrader 8. Select the market that you want. Most of the time, it's good to use the E-mini market just because it's probably the most popular futures market. So if you go to Futures and click on ES 0617, you'll be provided with all of these settings that you can now configure. By the way, the data feed that we set up will only give you data for futures markets. If you want information on a Forex data feed, we can provide that to you. You can email us at support@daytradetowin.com. So this data feed is connected. We've got the chart settings up in front of us. Now, what type of chart are we going to set up? We can set up all these different chart types, but for beginners or for people using the methods at daytradetowin.com, you're probably going to be using a minute chart most of the time. You can also specify the value for the minute chart. If you want a 5-minute chart, you're going to simply specify the number 5 in this box. The other setting I recommend changing is the amount of days to load. You can specify a value for the amount of days to load. If you want to load up 14 days of history, type in 14. This will give you 2 weeks to scroll through. If you want 30 days, you can do that. I probably wouldn't go beyond 30 days or so, just because it can slow down NinjaTrader when it attempts to download all that data. So I typically use 14. After that, most of these settings you probably won't change too often. So you can simply click on OK, and then you'll have a new chart come up. And you can see that this chart is live because we have price moving right here on the right-hand side. You'll notice that my chart has a dark color. This is something new to NinjaTrader 8. Some people don't like the dark color chart. So if you want to change that, I'll show you how. You can do that by going to Tools and then go to Options. There's a setting here called Skin. Slate gray is the default setting. You can see it's that gray color here on the chart. You can go darker if you want to. If you just want a light color, click on light and then click on OK. Note that NinjaTrader will tell you to restart the platform in order for the skin to apply. So if I wanted to change my chart to white right now, I'd have to restart NinjaTrader. That's something I don't want to do right now. I'm fine and happy with the darker chart. So we're just going to leave this the way it is and click on cancel. Okay, so back to the chart. We've got live data as we confirmed. Now there's a few things that we need to go over. So how do you navigate the chart? Well, you've got this scroll bar here on the bottom. You can go all the way back to 14 days ago based on that setting that we just changed. If you want to jump to the current market activity, in the upper right-hand corner, there's this looks like a play button. You click on that and it will jump right to the current candle that's plotting. These are all candles right here if you're new to trading. All the red and green boxes or bars as they're sometimes called. Another way to see more data or more candles at one time is to click and drag this bottom axis right here. This is the time axis, this horizontal one. So I'm clicking, holding, and dragging to the left. This will allow me to zoom in on the candles. No one would ever actually trade with a zoom this close probably. So in most cases, you'll want to leave it maybe about right here. If you want to get a better picture of the day so far, you might zoom out this way, this far. You can see here we've got 9 o'clock all the way to the current time, which is around 4:16 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're looking at pretty much the whole trading day. You can also do the same thing with this vertical axis right here. By clicking and dragging up, you can stretch the bars out. You probably won't want to do that. In case you mess up your chart, there's a way to reset it though. Let's make this chart really messed up. You can see that I can't even see the candles at this point. So to fix this, I'm going to click the F button, that's F as in Frank, in the upper right corner. We call that the focus button. So by clicking that, it brings the candles back into focus. So if you're ever in trouble, look for the F button and click on it. So that's basic chart navigation. There's a few adjustments to the chart that we like to make as well. First, we've got the crosshair. If you can see my mouse cursor, it's the same as in other Windows applications. We prefer to use the local crosshair instead of the cursor. This allows us to look exactly at the open and the close of a candle. That would be right here for this candle, the open and the close of this candle. And we can see on the right axis, the price axis, that it closed at 2,394. This also occurred, this candle plotted at 2:25 p.m. That's military time on the bottom, 14:25. So that's one quick way to gauge the candle times and prices accurately and quickly, is using this crosshair feature. Another useful tool is this chart trader. You can actually trade directly on your chart. We're going to get into placing orders in a little bit, but first just take a look at the interface here for chart trader. So this little icon up at the top, click on it and go to chart trader. On the right hand side of the chart, you can see a bunch of buttons fold out on this panel. You've got buy market, buy ask, buy bid. This is probably confusing if you're a new trader, but forget about what that means and just understand that you're looking at buttons that let you interact with the market. It's kind of like a remote control for your TV, only for the market, where you can place orders if you think the market will go up or you think the market will go down, and tell your broker how much you want to risk on each trade and so on. Typically, we don't use this to trade. We enable it and then we hide it. So we use chart trader hidden. There's a reason for that. That's because when you get into more advanced trading, when you're using the Superdome, we'll get into that in a minute, you want your orders to appear on the chart on the right hand side. All the information like your profit target and your stop loss will appear, but you have to enable chart trader for that. So as a reminder, enable it, but use chart trader hidden. Okay, a few other settings on the chart we're going to go over, but if you have any questions so far, just type them into the room. Up here, we've got the ability to switch to a different market. If we're tired of looking at the E-mini, we can switch to any other futures market here. Yes, there's a way to add more markets than this for futures. If you want to know more about that, just email us at support@DayTradeToWin.com. We can tell you how to use Instrument Manager. We probably won't have time for that today, but remind me in case you want to know later on. So we could switch and look at the 6E, for example, and it loads up the Euro market. 6E stands for Euro, ES stands for E-mini. This is what the Euro market is doing today. Now let's say if we wanted to look at a minute chart, we could switch from a 5-minute to a 1-minute chart, just like that. That's pretty easy to do. With NinjaTrader 7, you probably remember that you had to right-click the chart, go into Data Series, and then change the value here. It's certainly an option, but it's much easier to go up here at the top of the chart and select what you want. Let's go back to the E-mini market. You can see how NinjaTrader 8 remembers the markets that I've recently opened up. So let's just click E-mini right here. Okay, now let's say that we wanted to look at a bigger picture of the day. We wanted to see what price did over the course of maybe multiple days. If you select a day chart, you can see how the bottom axis is broken down into individual days. So one whole day, if it's an up or a down day, that will be represented in the candle. So for example, let's see, we have 5-9. This was yesterday. The market went down a bit for the day. It opened here and it closed here. So for today, it looks like we've gone up a little bit. So that's a daily chart, but most of the time you're going to be using a 5-minute chart. So let's switch back. All right, so that's how you toggle between the different time settings in the chart. There's one setting that I recommend turning on right away. If you notice that when I scroll through here, it's really difficult to determine which day is which. The days sort of bleed into one another. You'll have to look at the bottom and find midnight. It would be like 0, for example, or May 10th. That's kind of hard to see. There's a way to get the time on the upper left of the chart. If you go to right-click the chart and go to Properties, there's a setting somewhere in here. It's, let's see, Show Date Range. Click that, then click on OK, and then in the top left of the chart, you're going to see the day that you're actually looking at. So when I scroll back to yesterday, for example, May 9th, you can see 5/9 is represented here on the chart. So that's something I definitely recommend doing to every single chart you have opened. Thank you everyone for attending, and if you have any more questions, let us know.